All right, what's up everyone? Today we are going to be doing a little trade recap on the trade I took last week that made me around $17,000 across 5 of my funded accounts on Lucid. So if we go back into Monday, we can see I did take this trade in Asia session. So I'll do a little analysis there. But before we get started, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to leave any video recommendations in the comments of what you guys want to see more of. I'm always open to ideas and stuff like that. And reminder, I am doing a giveaway of my Lucid accounts. I'm giving away 3 50K flex accounts. Those are personally what I use, and they're honestly the best in the game in my opinion. So if you want to be entered into that, all you have to do is use code Evan at checkout on Lucid and you will be entered. At the end of the month, I will be doing a story poll on my Instagram, so go follow my Instagram at Evan Investing. And then when I post that story at the end of the month saying that I will be doing the giveaway, all you have to do is send me a screenshot of you buying the account using my code, and you're entered. That's all you got to do. So 1 account purchased using code Evan is 1 entry, and so on and so forth. You can buy 5 for 5 entries, 10 for 10 entries, and you get the idea of it. So moving forward into the actual trade recap. So we are on bar replay for this, but it still works. It's fine. So I'm going to put this on the 1 minute time frame. As you can see, we opened right at all-time highs. We put in the high right here, and then we dumped off of it, filling this gap that we had on Friday. So this right here was Sunday open. I traded this in Asia session. We had a gap up towards all-time highs. We were actually at all-time highs, so we will mark that out right there. We kind of had this resistance at all-time highs the previous week on Friday, and we didn't really push past that. But when we opened on Saturday, we had a wick above that, and then we dumped and filled this gap that we had here, this NWOG that we had. We can probably mark this out from here to here, and that looks pretty good. Okay, so let me go through this and show you guys what happened. So we did end up filling this gap pretty nicely and got a good reaction off of it. This is what mainly told me that my bias was going to be long. Also paired with the fact that we are at all-time highs. We pushed up the previous day and stalled at all-time highs. We didn't really have any reason to manipulate any lower because of this gap right here that we filled perfectly and reacted off of. So in my opinion, the fact that we were already at all-time highs, we're moving towards it, and then we open and fill this gap right away, we get a beautiful reaction off of it. So at this point, I am looking for longs right when Asia session open. My bias is obviously long on the day. We also put in a daily wick on the daily time frame candle, and all-time highs is resting above here. So let's jump down to the 1 minute and I'll show you guys exactly what happened. I drew out my fib tool from top to bottom of this range. Another thing I did do is pair this with standard deviation. As you can see, we have negative 2.5 lined up perfectly with this, and it tapped 2.5 literally to the tick and reacted off of it. So for me, this was an A+ setup. There was nothing else that I could have seen that would have possibly made me, look for a better entry here. And then once we pulled back into OTE of this range paired with this deviation band, I entered right at 618 of this range with my stop below this low right here, because there was genuinely no reason to manipulate lower. Like I said, we filled the gap. We have the standard deviation line that we tapped perfectly and reacted off of right at 8 p.m. And we just got a beautiful V-shaped recovery out of this, breaking all this structure to the upside. Then typically what I look for is a retrace into OTE and some sort of other confluence to make us go towards the direction that I'm looking towards. So once I did that, I drew my TP to the high, which was pretty much 100 points. It was like 99 points. I entered right there. So this was about a 4-to-1 risk reward. And then let's play this out for you guys. As you can see, let's extend this a little bit. So as you can see off this entry, I did get a little bit of drawdown right here. We did tap into 786 of this range, and then we did manipulate higher towards all-time highs like I said my draw was going to be. We got edged right here, we pulled back, and then we manipulated the upside. But the one thing I want to point out to you guys right here, watch the daily candle. If we go back to something like this before Asia open, this was not an ideal time to trade. But as soon as we got that Asia manipulation and we formed that daily wick, I knew this was the bottom, because we have the standard deviation level. We have this gap that got filled perfectly, right? We have everything in confluence. We have this manipulation leg. We have the distribution. Now all I'm looking for is a pullback into OTE. Like I got there, I entered. I waited, and the trade played out perfectly, as you can see right here. Then watch the daily candle. We put in that wick, we manipulated. That's all we're looking for. We're looking for the manipulation, and then we're looking for the draw on liquidity to get taken, which was all-time highs. Now look at the daily candle. It is completely flipped, as you guys saw before when we were back here. The daily candle looked very bearish. So obviously this is not an ideal time to trade, especially in here because we did not fill this new weekly opening gap. We did not manipulate anything. We literally didn't do anything. We were just trending down from 6 p.m. open. We got that manipulation, we got the pullback, and then that was a good enough entry for me. This was honestly A+. And then as you can see, the daily candle flipped, right? Watch this, boom. Flips up, we edge the highs a little bit, and then we end up coming back down and then coming up and taking those all-time highs like I predicted. So let's move a little bit forward into AM session right here. So we did have a crash in London session. As you can see right here, we did take out this low and move lower. We did manipulate into this higher time frame range, but that is completely fine. That is completely predictable because what do we want to do, right? We want to manipulate back into OTE. So if we draw at the bottom of this to the top of this, where did we go? Right into 705. Okay, we put in that daily wick once again, and then we did not manipulate back up to all-time highs because we already took them in Asia session. But if we play out into 930, boom, we manipulate a little bit. We're really choppy in AM session. But the daily wick is still holding, right? The daily wick is still holding. We're probably going to manipulate up to true day open, take these highs out, and then, you know, we could dump after that, or we could push higher, but I really doubt we will. Or we'll just stall out for the day. Okay, yeah. So we ended up putting in this wick earlier, right? We had this daily wick that I showed you guys earlier, but then we had a dump, and then we had a push back up above this high, which then manipulated these highs, took out true day open in AM session, which there was a decent stat on, not the best, but there was a 62% chance that would happen. So when we have a very high probability draw on liquidity, such as a new weekly opening gap, we're not even worried about this right here. We will probably manipulate to that eventually, but that's not what I'm looking for at this point. I'm looking for a quick, simple, clean manipulation and a point that makes sense in the market to reverse off of, okay? And yes, I could have set a limit order right on 2.5, right on the gap fill, but that's just not typically how I trade. I just wait for confirmation, right? Because we could just crash through here in Asia session open and then, you know, just completely screw me over. But I waited for confirmation. Once I saw this manipulation, we tapped in this negative 2.5. We filled the gap completely, and then we manipulated right off of it. So once I saw this manipulation leg and this distribution, that's when I knew we were probably going to go higher on the day. And that's when I waited for the pullback into OTE, and I got my entry right there. Stops below the manipulation leg, and then we pumped right to all-time highs. And again, look at the daily candle. We put in that beautiful wick, and then we flipped and manipulated to the upside, taking all-time highs. So pretty self-explanatory. That is basically an A+ setup for me. I don't really know how much more A+ it can get than that. This was a perfect trade, and that's why I did size up heavy on this. I did risk a lot more than I usually do, and I made around 3,400 to 3,500 per account on this. Yeah, this was just literally perfect for me. But yeah, if you guys are interested in learning my full strategy and learning how I use bias, OTE, standard deviation, all those good things that I showed you in this video, you can leave a comment, DM me on Instagram, whatever you want to do to get in touch with me. Or you can check out the description in this video to apply to work with me one-on-one. And there is where I will teach you everything you need to know about OTE, standard deviation, and my full strategy breakdown, and work with you one-on-one. And circling back to what I was talking about before, to be entered into the giveaway that I'm doing, make sure to use code Evan at Lucid. There will also be a link for that in the description. If you guys use my code, you will be automatically entered into the Lucid 50K Flex account giveaway. And yeah, you guys will get a chance to win some free accounts, okay? So make sure to do that, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.